Millionaire CEO smile. Beat me at chess and I'll marry you, Black. Beginning the challenge. The year was 2146, and the skyline of Neo Atlanta was a maze of glass spires, vertical gardens, and drone highways. The world had long since shifted from oil and steel to quantum energy and neurocommerce. At the heart of this shifting empire sat Dorian Vale, a billionaire CEO of Smile Industries, a conglomerate whose bioneural implants had reshaped human cognition. He was 39, handsome in a cold, sculpted way, with ice blue eyes that missed nothing. Dorian had never married, though the tabloids painted it with models, politicians, and princesses. What most didn't know was that Dorian never sought beauty or fame. He sought challenge. His obsession wasn't yachts, fashion, or sport. It was chess. Chess had become antiquated to most. Neural nets could solve openings and end games with precision. But for Dorian, chess wasn't about winning. It was about reading the human mind, seeing how someone thought when stripped of excuses. For him, chess revealed the soul. At one of his corporate galas, in the glittering glass atrium of Smile Tower, he shocked the crowd. With his half smile, leaning against a marble table, he declared, "Marriage, wealth, partnership, I'll grant it to the one who beats me at chess. Man, woman, doesn't matter. Checkmate me, and you'll have everything I have." The guests laughed, thinking it was another of his eccentric performances. But Dorian meant it. Among the silent service staff was Amara Nyong'o, a black woman of 25. She wasn't an heiress or executive. She was the daughter of a once proud astrophysicist who had died in obscurity. Amara worked in the building's maintenance division, fixing the neural hubs that powered Smile's AI servers. But what no one knew, not even Dorian, was that Amara had grown up learning chess from her father, who had once represented Kenya in interplanetary tournaments before poverty crushed him. When Dorian's words echoed across the atrium, Amara froze. Marriage? To him? Ridiculous. But beating him at chess? That she could do. Middle. The game. Amara didn't challenge him immediately. She spent nights studying Dorian's archive matches, leaked through Smile's data feeds. She saw the way he favored sharp Sicilian lines, how he manipulated tempo, how he drew opponents into overextending. His brilliance wasn't just moves. It was psychological warfare. One late evening, while repairing a faulty implant stabilizer in Dorian's personal office, Amara found him waiting by a chessboard of black glass and ivory. "You've been watching me," Dorian said softly. Amara froze, tools in hand. I was just fixing." He gestured to the board. "Play." The pieces reassembled themselves through magnetics, settling into their starting squares. Amara sat across from him, her heart pounding. The room smelled faintly of ozone from the servers, the city's neon bleeding through the floor-to-ceiling windows. "You know the stakes," Dorian murmured, his smile glinting. "Beat me and I'll marry you. Beat me and you inherit Smile Industries. Beat me and the world bends." "I don't need your empire," Amara said, meeting his eyes. "I just want the truth." "The truth? Why you hide behind chess?" For the first time, his smile faltered, but he moved his pawn to e4, and the game began. The opening was sharp. Amara countered with a French defense, surprising him. He leaned forward, intrigued. "You don't play safe," he said. "Neither do you." The room became a battlefield. Pieces clashed, knights forked. Bishops sliced diagonals like laser beams. Each move was a duel not just of intellect, but of will. Amara felt her father's voice echoing in her memory. Chess is a universe in 64 squares. Control the center, control destiny. Dorian attacked with brutal efficiency, sacrificing pawn for activity, pressing her back. Sweat prickled her neck, but she held. Her rook slid across the board, pinning his knight. His queen hovered like a predator. "You're not like the others," Dorian said, studying her face. "They crumble when I pressure them. But you've never played someone who's already lost everything." Amara whispered. That struck him. His eyes flickered. For a moment, his mask cracked. The middle game dragged on for hours. Servants came and went silently, afraid to interrupt. Outside, the neon skyline dimmed into dawn. Both players were exhausted, yet alive with fire neither had felt in years. Finally, Amara saw it, a flaw in his defense. His overextended rook left his king vulnerable. With precise calculation, she launched her attack. Dorian leaned back as her queen cut across the board, cornering him. "Check," she said. He studied the board. His smile wavered. For the first time, Dorian Vale was losing. She pressed the attack. His pieces crumbled. "Checkmate," Amara whispered, placing her bishop with a soft click. Silence. The room seemed to exhale. Dorian's icy eyes locked on hers. Then, slowly, he laughed. Not the cold, arrogant chuckle of the CEO, but something raw. "You've done it," he said. His voice trembled with something like relief. "You've broken me." Twist, the real game. But then the glass walls shifted, revealing holographic screens. Amara gasped. Their game had been broadcast live across the SmileNet, the largest neural network in the world. Millions had watched. What did you do?" she asked. Dorian stood, his silhouette framed against the city. "Smile Industries is built on control. I wanted the world to see that even I, Dorian Vale, can be defeated." "You used me?" she demanded, standing. "I tested you, and you won." The doors opened, and a swarm of reporters flooded in. Cameras flashed. Headlines began to explode across the networks. "Unknown woman defeats Dorian Vale to wed billionaire CEO." Amara's chest tightened. She hadn't played for fame. She'd played for dignity, for truth. But now, the world saw her as a pawn in Dorian's spectacle. "Why?" she asked, her voice breaking. Dorian's smile was gone now, his eyes strangely vulnerable. "Because I need someone who isn't afraid of me. Everyone else obeys, bows, flatters. But you looked at me as a man, not a god. You remind me what it means to fight." She shook her head. "I don't want your empire. I don't want to be your prize." But the cameras had already written the story. Ending the choice. The weeks that followed were chaos. Amara's face was everywhere, on screens, billboards, and neural feeds. Some hailed her as a hero. Others called her a gold digger. Protesters chanted outside Smile Tower. Dorian pursued her relentlessly, not with gifts or promises, but with questions. He asked about her father, her dreams, her fears. Slowly, she saw beneath the billionaire's armor. He was brilliant, but lonely, a man whose empire had isolated him from humanity. One evening, he appeared at a small apartment, without bodyguards, without fanfare. "You don't have to marry me," he said quietly. "The challenge was a cage I built for myself. You freed me from it. That's enough." Amara stared at him. The man who had everything looked utterly lost. "Why me?" she whispered. "Because you're the only one who ever saw past the smile." She thought of her father, who had always believed chess was more than a game. It was about connection, about two minds meeting across a battlefield. Perhaps this was what he meant. She stepped aside and let Dorian in. Months later, the world was shocked again, not by a wedding, but by a partnership. Amara Nyong'o was announced as co-CEO of Smile Industries. Together, she and Dorian dismantled exploitative neural contracts, redirected resources to education, and opened new opportunities for the poor. They never confirmed whether they married in secret, but it hardly mattered. The tabloids still spun their tales, but those who knew saw something truer. Two souls, bound not by wealth or spectacle, but by a single night across a chessboard. And in Smile Tower, under glass and neon, that same board sat encased in crystal, the final position preserved forever. The queen, the bishop, the king cornered. A reminder that even the greatest empire can fall. And that sometimes love begins with checkmate.